Here's your news for December 21st, 2019. We're starting off with some news from this week's edition of SmackDown on Fox, as Daniel Bryan had his first match back in quite some time. After his return at WWE TLC with a new look, Bryan appeared in the ring this week to explain his absence, claiming that Bray Wyatt's attacks had removed the heel side of him, leaving only the old Daniel Bryan fans know and love. Calling out The Fiend to face him in the ring again, it was instead The Miz who answered, as the A-lister sympathized with Bryan for everything the Eco-Warrior has been through, but said he wants a piece of Wyatt first for what the Universal Champion has done to his family. Unfortunately for the pair, neither man received Wyatt on this occasion, as both superstars were ambushed by Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin, leading to a tag match which the faces won. While Bryan and Miz may be one of the oddest pairings in WWE in years, fans can't argue with their success, and we can't help but think that somewhere, Bray Wyatt was watching this match with great interest. Though the old Daniel Bryan is back on TV, one superstar who fans shouldn't expect to see is Primo Colon, though that may not be his own fault. Last week, the former tag team champion was suspended for violating the company's wellness policy, but now the former tag champion has claimed that he has been reprimanded despite not taking any banned substances. According to Primo, who spoke on Primera Hora in Puerto Rico, the only reason he was suspended was because he didn't take the test due to being in Puerto Rico at the time. Primo went on to elaborate that WWE allegedly requested him to fly back to the mainland United States for a drug test, which Primo refused, saying that it was unfair for him to pay for a ticket just for a drug test, and believed that WWE would find a lab in Puerto Rico. This event reportedly happened months ago, but it only led to a suspension recently, according to the former Los Matadores superstar. But Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer has said Primo's side of things is inaccurate. It's hard to say what exactly is inaccurate about his story, though we do know that Primo's contract with the company expires in October, despite Savio Vega saying that he and Epico are no longer with the company. That's a very different response than the one given by the pair's father, Carlos Colon, who has said that they are still with WWE, and it doesn't look like fans will get a clear answer to this story anytime soon. While Primo may be in hot water for the time being, things are much different for Dana Brooke, who has had something of a push recently on SmackDown. Sharing the ring with SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley in recent weeks, this is the most exposure that Brooke has had in years, and now the master of Flex Appeal has confirmed her position by signing a brand new contract. Breaking the news to Sports Illustrated, Brooke revealed that she has signed a 5-year deal with the company, and spoke about what she hopes to achieve, saying, "Part of my goal is to build my own personal brand, and women empowerment is a key in the success of my career and a key for WWE. We can do what the male wrestlers have done over the years, and now women are finally being given that chance." Debuting in the company in 2015, Brooke has been overlooked for bigger stars such as Ronda Rousey and the Four Horsewomen of WWE, but 2020 may be the year for the former bodybuilding model. Brooke's time in WWE hasn't been easy to say the least, but in 2017, the SmackDown superstar hit her lowest point when her boyfriend Dallas McCarver passed away. In that same interview with Sports Illustrated, Brooke spoke about losing McCarver at a young age, describing the bodybuilder as her angel and saying how she thinks about him every day. Saying that how she couldn't even speak about losing Dallas 2 years ago, the SmackDown star said that her job had helped her out, adding, "My career in WWE saved my life, and losing him reminded me that tomorrow is never promised. It's not promised to anybody. We have a start date and an end date, and we have to give forth the best energy we can when we're here." It's clear that Brooke has taken some big steps to help her move on from that sad time, including a budding relationship with the Animal Batista, which fans have been able to see play out on social media. We're not quite sure where Brooke Tista will go from here, but it's great to see that Dana has been able to pick herself up and move on with her life after the awful events that played out 2 years ago. From SmackDown to Raw now, as though the Red brand has a lot of underused stars due to its huge roster, one of the most underutilized is Bo Dallas. Joining the main roster in 2014, it's hard to believe that there was a time when Bo was the longest-reigning NXT champion, as upon his Raw debut, the Bo Lever enjoyed a brief winning streak before quickly falling down the company's totem pole. After being one of the social outcasts and later becoming one half of the B Team, Dallas would have some success last year by holding the Raw Tag Team titles with the equally overlooked Curtis Axel, but hasn't done anything of note in months. Bo briefly held the 24/7 title earlier this year, but this week took to Twitter to address his absence, saying he is currently on what he described as a life-changing expedition. Promising the fans that the next time they see him, it will be a Bo they've never seen before, it's hard to tell whether this is actually a change of his character or if the jobber is just talking nonsense on social media. As the brother of Bray Wyatt and the son of IRS Mike Rotunda, Bo definitely has the wrestling pedigree to be a success in WWE, but time will tell whether this tweet actually goes anywhere for the 29-year-old superstar. We've got some Rated R news up next today, as earlier this week we reported that Edge could be returning to the ring despite retiring in 2011. After a series of neck injuries forced the former world champion into an early retirement, fans have speculated on a possible comeback, and this speculation only grew this month when Edge signed a new contract with the WWE that allowed an in-ring return. Despite many fans dusting off their old Rated R t-shirts in the hopes of a surprise Royal Rumble appearance, Edge himself has dismissed the rumors on his Twitter account. Though Edge didn't refer to the rumors of his return or an appearance at the Royal Rumble, the Hall of Famer simply said, "Still not and still not, period," as it seems the ultimate opportunist won't be returning to the ring. Of course, the fact that Edge is denying a return has only led some fans to believe it's going to happen more, but though a Rated R return would reek of awesomeness, what matters above everything else is Edge's neck and his health. We've got some news from the National Wrestling Alliance up next, as the old school promotion continues to go from strength to strength since its relaunch earlier this year. This week, the NWA broke the news that their upcoming Hard Times pay-per-view has sold out, and in just 3 hours. As if that wasn't big enough, the VIP sections of the arena sold out in 3 minutes, showing that there are plenty of NWA fans who will pay good money to see the show. The event is scheduled to take place on January 24th next year at the GPB Studios in Atlanta, and among other matches, will feature the finals of an ongoing tournament to crown the next NWA television champion. And finally today, we're catching up with the results from this week's SmackDown on Fox, as the Blue brand had a lot to offer aside from Daniel Bryan's first match back. After Otis received a Christmas ham and a kiss from Mandy Rose, he and Tucker wore their finest Santa outfits to take on the Revival in a Miracle on 34th Street fight. The unorthodox match involved everything from cookies, tables, bowling balls, and Christmas trees as weapons, though it was Otis who sealed the win after slamming Dawson onto Legos, and anyone who's tried to cross a child's bedroom in the dark will know the pain of the colored bricks on bare skin. After coming up short, the self-professed top guys were serenaded by Elias, and after losing to the New Day in a ladder match at TLC for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, the pairing of Dash and Dawson will be hoping that 2020 is a much better year for them. In women's division action, Carmella got back to her winning ways after weeks of losses by knocking off Sonya Deville on SmackDown. In a festive mood after her victory, the Staten Island Princess celebrated on top of the ramp with the New Day, and the 7-time tag team champions would go on to once again defeat Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. Unhappy with another loss, the team, alongside Sami Zayn, would assault Kofi and Big E after the match, which proved to be a fatal mistake thanks to the timely intervention of Braun Strowman. With Christmas being the time of giving presents, the Monster Among Men was more than willing to give out hands to the heels. And though Zayn was able to save the King of Strong Style from a running power slam, Nakamura and his championship only barely escaped this time. Up next, fans saw Dana Brooke take on Bayley in a rematch from last week, though once again it was the SmackDown Women's Champion who emerged triumphant, but the post-match beatdown, which saw Bayley and Sasha Banks bully Brooke, drew the ire of Lacey Evans. In an impromptu match between the Lady and the Boss, the match was going quite well until Banks decided to deliver some smack talk to Evans' daughter, who was sat at ringside, causing the sassy Southern Belle to snap into a fury. Unloading on her opponent, this led to a double countout for the pair, as while Bayley, Dana Brooke, and numerous officials were able to pull Evans off the Boss. It's obvious that this feud is far from over. And finally, we're headed back to AEW Dynamite now, as while Tony Schiavone is on the show most weeks, one place fans will never hear his name is at the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony. During the latest edition of What Happened When, the former WCW commentator discussed his disdain for how WWE has treated Eric Bischoff for leaving him out of the NWO's upcoming induction next year. The legendary announcer has even instructed his family to never allow him into the WWE Hall of Fame, not even after he has died. He said, "My family has been instructed that if they want to induct me in any way, post-mortem, the answer from my family is no. So don't expect me to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. You know, now I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off because Eric is not a part of the NWO into the Hall of Fame, and I'm pissed off because Eric got over by Vince McMahon. Not Bruce Pritchard, who's our friend, who's a good guy, straight-up guy, but by Vince McMahon." Bischoff, who has said he has made peace with the decision not to induct him with the NWO, was with the WWE earlier this year, but after a disastrous run as SmackDown Executive Director, was let go by the company. Part of the issue with Bischoff's tenure was that no one knew what was going on, as multiple reports came out of Bischoff missing shows and meetings, and for those he did attend, he could usually be found hiding in catering. Speaking about Bischoff's departure, Schiavone didn't hold back on his criticism, saying, "You know, and everybody knows that Eric was brought in just so he could get fired, and that fucking sucks. I know it, and I'll guarantee you that I'm right. And the fact that he wasn't put in the NWO Hall of Fame, into the Hall of Fame with the NWO, confirms it." Though Bischoff wasn't inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame on this occasion, it's highly likely that the WCW magnate and former Raw general manager will be inducted one day, though the same can't be said for Tony Schiavone.